What is up, guys? I am Amish Warrior, and today, as a end of season real life kind of thing, I've decided to bring you a race on Brazil. I am Fernando Alonso. It is a 25% race, so this is most likely going to be split into two parts. I'm not really going to do a race commentary. I'm in fourth. I'll just start off with the race, commentating on the race at the moment. I'm in fourth. Vettel's in front of me, weirdly enough, as I get rammed up the bum there from someone. And Rosberg loses a bit of his front wing, and I attempt to dive at the inside of Maldonado and kind of make that stick. I'm in second at the moment, hunting down Schumacher in first. Anyway, this isn't really going to be a race commentary of sorts. I am mainly going to be having a bit of a chat / discussion about the 2012 season this year. Just thought I'd chuck across a few of my thoughts and opinions on incidents and race wins and all that sort of thing. As Maldonado has once again overtaken me. I will be chucking a bit of race commentary in where events happen, but as I said, most of it will be as Rosberg dies up my inside. Daring move there from the German. Yeah, most of it will be about the season. So anyway, where to start, I suppose, may as well start. And race one. Race one was Australia. A lot of, I can't think of the word really. A lot of anticipation was involved going into the start of the season. A lot was expected of McLaren and both of the drivers, mainly Lewis. I personally wanted both of them to do well this year, and as well as McLaren, because I wanted Red Bull to be knocked off their perch. But that hasn't happened. McLaren, they had a really good start. Button won the race. Hamilton had third, could have had second if it wasn't for their pit crew messing up. But very, very strong start. I mean, Red Bull did well as you would expect. Ferrari, they were a bit of a shambles. I mean, Alonso managed to drive what was seen to be an undrivable car very, very well in that race after qualifying poorly. Massa didn't have a good day at all. In fact, he didn't have a good half to the season to begin with. But things evolved from there. I mean, Alonso had a great race in Malaysia, as did Sergio Perez in the Sauber in the wet conditions, driving a first and second respectively. China, Rosberg got his first race win. Bahrain, Vettel won his first race of the season. It could have been Kimi if he had made that move up the inside. Spain, Maldonado won his first race of the season, first win for Williams in years. That was a huge surprise. I thought for sure Alonso was going to catch him in that race. It's been a very, very good season so far. I mean, so far it's been a very good season in general. It's been my most enjoyable season since I can remember. I've been watching this sport for about 12, 13 years, and I can't remember a season such as exciting as this. There's been so much drama, so many incidents, so many chops and changes, and race wins, and race podiums, championship winnings, and stuff like that. Absolutely amazing. I mean, the incidents has just been ridiculous this year. I mean, Maldonado started it all off really, crashing into everybody when he could. I don't know what was going through his mind. He seemed to calm down after the season break. Grosjean seemed to take that mantle from him, although I think he was very harshly treated by a lot of people. There was after Spa, they said he'd been involved in like 11 third-slapped incidents. I went over and looked at them. I would say about 3 were his fault. A lot of the times he was the one that got round off the track, but just because he was involved, everybody seemed to think it was his fault. I mean, the one in Spa was pretty bad. At the time, I didn't think it was his fault. I've seen drivers in the past cut across, like Vettel did last year in Japan. He cut completely across Button, actually ran Button off the track. Nothing was given. It was a horrific incident, don't get me wrong, and I was very thankful that no one got hurt, especially Alonso. But, I don't know, I don't see why he come under so much hammering from everybody for that. All he did was cut across, but yeah, that's my opinion on it. I mean, everybody I know disagrees with me. I haven't found one single person that agrees with me yet on that one. So, and then he did after he had his fucking race ban, went and crashed into Webber. I was just like, for God's sake. I've taken a real good liking to Grosjean. I think he's been a very nice surprise this year. I mean, he's in a good car, to be fair, but yeah, he's not really been talked about in terms of race performance because of Kimi. I think Kimi's been, what can I say, his performances have been exaggerated in comparison to Grosjean. That'd be the best way to say it, I suppose. I don't mind Kimi. I've gotten to like him a bit more. When he first joined this sport, I didn't like him. I thought he was an arrogant moron. He's still a bit arrogant, but that's just his personality, I suppose. But I like him a bit more now. But yeah, I do think he definitely overshadowed Grosjean this year. I mean, after he had a cracking race in Abu Dhabi. He got a bit fortunate with Hamilton. It's typical, excuse me, his typical McLaren failure, but still, good race win for Kimi. I didn't think he'd win one this year, but credit to him, he stuck to it and he won. Anyway, bit of a change topic here. Talk about the title, Alonso and Vettel. I honestly do think Vettel will win it, unfortunately. I want Alonso to win it. I've wanted Alonso to win it all the year. He's been the closest competitor to Vettel on a consistent basis. But Alonso has to win in Brazil and Vettel to finish 5th, and I just don't see that happening. The only way that can happen is if it rains, or, which it is forecast to be fair, or the Red Bull has a failure. Like their alternators have been terrible this year. It cost Vettel the win in Valencia, much to my pleasure. But you know, Webber's alternator failed last week in Austin, so you know, we will see. But I don't know. I think McLaren will get pole this weekend, but Vettel will be there and thereabouts. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I've got nothing against Vettel personally. I think Vettel is. I've seen plenty of interviews with him, and he seems like a really nice guy. But when it comes to racing, he's just turning into another Schumacher that we had like 8-9 years ago, and that bored me. It actually put me off the sport for a bit, because it's just boring watching the same driver when season after season, and no one wants to see that. That's what's been so good about this year is the 7 different winners in the first 7 races. You know, we've had 8 race winners this year. I mean, I've never seen it happen in my lifetime. It's been awesome, and if he wins the race, if he wins the championship, it'll be 3 in a row, and it will start getting to that point where it becomes predictable and boring, and no one will want to watch it. And I don't think next year's gonna be as good as this year. I think next year's got a lot to live up to. It's kind of like the football season this year. Last season, the Premiership, unbelievably good season. The season's finish was awesome, and this year so far has not lived up to it. And I kind of think the F1's going to be in a similar situation next year. It's going to struggle to live up to this year's dramatics. And 2014 season, I'm not looking forward to that at all. I don't understand why they keep downgrading the bloody engines. Stupid. Why not leave them as they are? Apparently it's all to do with safety, but it's just crap. I'm sick to death of the FIA making stupid bloody decisions like that. But yeah, that's for another discussion, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, Perez obviously is going to McLaren next year. He's had a very, very strong performance in the Sauber this year, getting a couple of podiums. He's been a good, strong all-round driver. Although since the news broke that he's going to McLaren, he hasn't performed all that well in the Sauber. So we'll see how he goes. My brother personally thinks he's going to do another Kovalainen and go to a bigger team and just flop. I don't. I don't think he'll win in his first few races. He'll do well though. I think he will win a couple races next season. He's a very strong driver. I personally don't think they should have picked Di Resta. I think Di Resta is more suited to that car. I think Perez would have been better in something like the Ferrari, but we will see how that goes. Talking of Di Resta, I know he's very disappointed to not get a move to a bigger team this year. Force India have a bit underperformed, I think, this year, considering how well they did in the 2011 season. A lot more was expected of them this year. They were the ones that were expected to challenge Mercedes for that 5th, well, what is now 5th place because of Lotus. But that hasn't happened. It's been Sauber, and that's a bit of a surprise. So the rest is not exactly happening. Hulkenberg is obviously moving to Sauber to replace Perez, which is just weird. It's a sideways move. A lot of people think he's doing it to pave the way to Ferrari, which fair enough. But at the moment, that seems like a very sideways move and absolutely pointless. The other Sauber driver, Kobayashi, who I'm disappointed to see going. I think Kobayashi is awesome for the sport. He brings a bit of flair. He's a bit of daring. I mean, I know he's had some dramatic incidents like running over his pit crew this year in Japan, but you know, he brings a nice difference to the sport, and I think it's gonna be a shame that he's gone. I know my other brother is devastated that he's going. It's his favourite driver. I mean, that'd just be like me. But when Button leaves the sport, I'm gonna be devastated, personally. You know, they got a nice young driver coming through though, in Esteban Gutierrez. I saw him watched him GP2 for the first time ever this year, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching some of that. And Gutierrez seemed like a very strong driver, so that'll be interesting to see how he goes this year. What else? I know that the top teams have all sorry about that. The top teams have all confirmed their teams for next year. It's as you are at Red Bull, as you are at Ferrari. Actually, talking about Ferrari, Massa. I mean, as I come into the pits here, I'm still hunting down Schumacher. Sorry, just go off the topic a bit, but I've been behind him for like 8 laps now, and it'll be interesting to see if I catch him or not. Anyway, Ferrari, Massa had an absolutely awful start to the season this year. He did really well in the race before the summer break, and ever since he's done really well. It's bizarre, it's like a different Massa. But I was just like everybody else at the start of the season, saying that he will not be at Ferrari next year. He's rubbish. What is he doing? When you compare it to Alonso, I know Alonso is an unbelievably good driver, world class. He personally, in my opinion, he's the best driver on the grid. A lot of people would argue with that. They'd say that Hamilton or Vettel are, but I'm yet to see Vettel win a race from 10th. Yeah, I know he's never there, but I don't think he would ever do it. You know, Alonso has performed unbelievably well in a rubbish car this year. It's got better as upgrades have come into the car, but in general, the car is not great. It's not Red Bull, it's not McLaren standard, and he's done unbelievably well. Massa did not. He was very poor. He got better after the summer break, but I didn't think he deserved to be there next year. I honestly didn't think he would be. Now I don't see why not. Alonso brought up a very good point a couple of weeks ago, saying that you know, he was close to the championship a few years ago, which is fair. He used to be an awesome driver. I don't know what happened, but it's very weird, and we will see how he goes next year. I'll carry on this discussion at the in this part 2, as I have to break it off now. I will see you in a bit.